Ladies and gentlemen, let me remind you today that your worth is not determined by how others have treated you, but by the incredible value within you. You have the power to move forward and step into life you were created to live. You deserve wholeness, not pieces. So many people go through life accepting less than they are worth because they believe it's all they can get. They cling to relationships, friendships, and situations that offer them bits and pieces of what they truly desire, convincing themselves that a piece is better than nothing. But I want to remind you that you were not created for broken fragments. You were created for fullness, for love that uplifts, for relationships that nurture, and for a life that feels whole and complete. Settling for less is not humility. It's a lack of understanding of your inherent worth. When someone gives you pieces of themselves, a moment of attention here, a kind word there, mixed with neglect or inconsistency, it's easy to think, at least I'm getting something. But deep down, you know that those pieces will never be enough to fill the emptiness. You can't build a solid foundation on fragments. Love, respect, and trust must come in their fullness to create something lasting and meaningful. Partial efforts don't lead to complete relationships, and partial love doesn't lead to a whole heart. Think about a vase that's been shattered into pieces. No matter how carefully you glue it back together, the cracks will always show. It might still hold water for a while, but over time, the pressure will cause it to leak. Relationships are the same way. When someone has broken your trust, shattered your confidence, or diminished your spirit, even their attempts to make amends may leave cracks in the foundation. It's not that people can't change, but often the damage done in the breaking cannot be undone. And the relationship will never be as it was meant to be. You are not obligated to keep accepting pieces from someone who doesn't see your value. When you allow people to give you less than what you deserve, you teach them that it's acceptable. But when you stand firm and say, I deserve more than this, you not only honor yourself, but you also set a standard for how others should treat you. It's not arrogance to expect to be treated with respect. Kindness and love is the acknowledgement of your own worth. You are not being unreasonable. You are simply recognizing that you are worthy of wholeness. It's easy to make excuses for those who break us. Maybe they mean it. Maybe they're going through something, or maybe things will get better if you just give them time. But here's the truth. Someone who truly values you will never make you feel like you are only worth fragments of their attention or affection. They will not give you just enough to keep you holding on while they fail to meet you where you are. Love isn't about making excuses for someone's behavior. It's about mutual respect, effort, and care. You are not responsible for fixing someone who can only give you pieces of themselves. Sometimes we try to take on the role of savior in relationships, thinking that if we just love them enough or give them enough grace, they will change. But change doesn't happen because of your effort. It happens because of theirs. And until they see their own need for transformation, they will continue to give you less than you deserve. You can love someone deeply and still recognize that they are not capable of giving you what you need. Walking away from someone who has broken you is not weakness, it's strength. It takes courage to say, I deserve more than this, especially when your heart wants to hold on. But staying in a situation that chips away at your spirit will only lead to more heartache. Letting go is not about bitterness or anger. It's about choosing your own peace and well-being. It's about acknowledging that you are worthy of a love that doesn't require you to accept pieces when you were made for wholeness. The truth is, you cannot thrive while holding on to relationships that drain you. You cannot heal in the same environment that broke you. And you cannot fully step into the life you were meant to live if you keep settling for less than you deserve. Wholeness comes when you let go of the fragments and open yourself to the possibility of something better. It may be hard, and it may be lonely for a while, but the freedom and peace you'll find on the other side are worth it. Your past is a teacher, not a chain. Life has a way of throwing us into situations that challenge, hurt, and stretch us in ways we never thought possible. Sometimes those experiences leave scars that run deep, making it feel like the pain is a permanent part of who we are. But the truth is, what happened to you in the past is not meant to bind you. It's meant to teach you, shape you, and prepare you for what's ahead. The pain, the heartbreak, the disappointments, they are lessons, not life sentences. It's so easy to get stuck replaying the past, to let your mind drift back to what went wrong, what could have been, and what you should have done differently. Regret is a powerful force, and if you're not careful, it can become a chain that holds you back from stepping into the future. But regret has no power unless you give it permission. The past happened and cannot be undone, but it can be learned from. Every mistake, every heartbreak, every setback carries a lesson. And when you take the time to use lessons, you gain wisdom that will guide you forward. We often hold on to the past because it's familiar, even it's painful. There's a strange kind of comfort in what we know, even when it's harmful to us. Moving forward means stepping into the unknown, and that can feel scary, but staying chained to the past keeps you from growing. It keeps you from seeing all the possibilities that lie ahead. You were not created to stay stuck in the same cycle of pain and disappointment. You were created to move forward, to evolve, and to rise above the challenges that once held you down. Sometimes we let the past define us. We wear our failures and heartbreaks like a badge, believing that they are all we are. But you are not your mistakes. You are not the person who was betrayed or the person who fell short. You are so much more than the worst thing that ever happened to you. The past is not your identity. It's just a chapter in your story. And just like a book, you have the power to turn the page and start a new chapter whenever you choose. The lessons of the past are invaluable, but they only have meaning when you use them. It's not enough to simply acknowledge what went wrong or to wallow in the pain of what happened. You have to take those lessons and let them guide your decisions moving forward. If someone broke your trust, let that teach you the importance of setting boundaries. If you made a mistake, let that show you the value of careful thought and consideration. The past doesn't have to be a weight. It can be a tool, a resource you use to build a better, stronger future. There's a saying that the same boiling water that softens a potato hardens an egg. It's not about the circumstance, it's about how you respond to it. Two people can go through the exact same challenge and come out completely different. The difference lies in perspective. If you see the past as a chain, it will hold you down. But if you see it as a teacher, it will lift you up. Your perspective has the power to turn your greatest pain into your greatest strength. It's important to recognize that letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it. You don't have to erase the memories or pretend that the pain never existed. Letting go simply means releasing its grip on you. It means acknowledging what happened, understanding the lessons, and choosing to move forward without carrying the weight of it. Letting go is an act of self-love. It's a way of saying, I deserve to be free from this. And freedom is the foundation for growth. The chains of the past often come with voices of doubt, fear, and guilt. They tell you that you'll never be good enough, that you'll never find love again, or you'll never recover from what happened. But those voices are lies. They are the echoes of pain, not the truth of who you are. The truth is that you are resilient, capable, and worthy of every good thing. You have the power to silence those voices by choosing to focus on the lessons rather than the pain. Every step you take forward is a step toward freedom. It's a step away from the chains of the past and toward the life you were meant to live. Yes, the past was real. Yes, it hurt, but it doesn't have to define your future. You have the power to decide how the story continues. And it starts with recognizing that your past is not a chain, it's a teacher. Use it wisely, and it will guide you to places you never thought possible. Self-worth begins with self-love. It's a truth that often gets overlooked because we spend so much time seeking validation from others. We look to relationships, friendships, achievements, and even social media to affirm that we are valuable, that we matter, and that we are enough. But the reality is no external source can truly define your worth. Your sense of value has to come from within. It has to start with how you see yourself and how much love and care you're willing to give to your own soul. When you don't love yourself, it becomes easy to settle for less than you deserve. You accept treatment from others that falls short of respect and kindness because you believe it's the best you can get. You allow yourself to stay in situations that drain you, thinking you don't have the strength or the right to demand better. But the way you allow others to treat you is often a reflection of how you treat yourself. If you don't see yourself as worthy of love, respect, and happiness, it's hard to expect others to see it in you. Loving yourself doesn't mean being selfish or self-centered. It means recognizing that you have value just as you are. It means treating yourself with the same kindness and compassion that you would offer to someone you care about deeply. Think about how you speak to yourself on a daily basis. Are you encouraging and supportive, or are you critical and harsh? The words you say to yourself matter. They shape how you see yourself and ultimately how you allow others to see you. When you love yourself, you set boundaries not because you're pushing people away, but because you know your peace is worth protecting. Boundaries are an act of self-respect. They show that you value your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being enough to say, this is what I will accept and this is what I won't. People who truly care about you will respect those boundaries, and those who don't are not meant to be in your life. Self-love gives you the courage to walk away from situations and relationships that don't serve your highest good. So often we look to others to fill the voids we feel within ourselves. We expect a partner, a friend, or even a career to make us feel whole. But no one and nothing can complete you if you don't first complete yourself. Self-love is not about waiting for someone else to show you your worth. It's about knowing your worth and carrying that confidence with you. It's about understanding that you are already enough just as you are. You don't need anyone else to validate you because your value is not dependent on their opinion. When you truly love yourself, you stop comparing yourself to others. You realize that your journey is unique and that comparing it to someone else's only robs you of joy. It's easy to look at someone else's success, beauty, or achievements and feel like you're falling short. But self-love reminds you that your worth is not determined by how you measure up to others. You are worthy simply because you exist, and that is enough. Self-love also gives you the strength to forgive yourself for past mistakes. Everyone has moments they wish they could take back things they've done or said that they're not proud of. But holding on to guilt and shame only weighs you down. Loving yourself means acknowledging your imperfections and giving yourself grace. It means understanding that mistakes are a part of growth and that they don't define you. When you forgive yourself, you free yourself to move forward without the burden of regret. One of the most powerful aspects of self-love is that it allows you to act the right people into your life. When you know your worth, you stop chasing after those who don't see it. You stop settling for half-hearted efforts and start demanding the kind of love and respect that you deserve. The energy you put out into the world changes when you love yourself, and people who align with that energy will naturally be drawn to you. You don't have to fight for love or beg for attention because the right people will see your value without you having to prove it. Self-love is a journey, not a destination. It's something you cultivate every day through your actions, your thoughts, and your choices. It's in the way you take care of your body, the way you nurture your mind, and the way you protect your heart. It's in the moments when you choose to rest instead of overworking yourself, when you say no to something that doesn't align with your values, and when you stand up for yourself even when it's hard. Loving yourself is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Your worth does not come from what you do, what you have, or who you know. It comes from who you are at your core. It comes from the love you give to yourself and the belief that you are deserving of good things. When you start with self-love, everything else falls into place. The way you see yourself sets the tone for how others see you. And when you love yourself deeply, you set a standard for the love you are willing to accept. God's plan is always forward, not backward. Life is full of twists and turns, and sometimes it's tempting to look back and wonder what might have been. We hold on to the past, trying to recreate moments or relationships that we believe define our happiness. But the truth is, you can't move forward while looking behind you. What's ahead is where your purpose lies, and God's plan for your life is always in motion, always leading you towards something greater. The past was a part of your journey, but it's not your destination. When things don't go as planned, it's natural to want to retreat to what feels familiar. Maybe a relationship ended or a door you thought would open stayed closed. It's easy to question, why did this happen? Or why wasn't I enough? But what feels like a setback is often a setup for something better. God doesn't take you backward to relive old pain or to keep you stuck in cycles that no longer serve you. He moves you forward because he knows there is more for you, a life full of promise, growth, life, and abundance. Sometimes we hold on to the past because it's comfortable even when it's not good for us. The idea of stepping into the unknown can feel overwhelming, and the fear of making a wrong choice can paralyze us. But staying where you are simply because it feels safe is not living in faith. Faith is about trusting that what God has planned for you is better than anything you could plan for yourself. It's about believing that the future holds something so much greater than anything you've left behind. You might feel like the past had all the answers, like it was the best chapter of your life. But God doesn't stop writing your story just because one chapter felt good. The best is yet to come, and you haven't even scratched the surface of what he has in store for you. The plans God has for you are not limited by what didn't work out. He can take the broken pieces of your life and create something beautiful out of them, but only if you're willing to let go of what's already behind you. Looking back can also blind you to the blessings that are right in front of you. When you're constantly focused on what you lost, you miss out on what you're gaining. The people, opportunities, and experiences in your present are gifts meant to prepare you for the future. But if your eyes are fixed on the rearview mirror, you'll never fully appreciate the road ahead. God wants you to embrace where you are now because every moment is a part of his greater plan for your life. The process of moving forward is not always easy. Sometimes it requires letting go of people, habits, or dreams that you thought were essential to your happiness. It can feel like a loss, but it's actually making room for something better. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you open yourself up to the new opportunities that God is bringing your way. The act of releasing the past is an act of faith, a declaration that you trust God's plan more than your own understanding. It's important to remember that God's plan is not always clear in the moment. There will be times when you can't see the next step, when the path ahead feels uncertain or even impossible. But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. God is always working behind the scenes, aligning circumstances, opening doors, and preparing you for what's next. His timing is perfect, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Trusting the process means surrendering your need to control the outcome and allowing God to guide you forward. When you focus on the future, you begin to see possibilities instead of limitations. You stop dwelling on what went wrong and start looking for what can go right. God's plan is always rooted in hope, growth, and purpose. He doesn't want you to live in regret or fear. He wants you to step boldly into the life He has prepared for you, knowing that every challenge, every detour, and every closed door was part of a greater plan to get you where you're meant to be. The road forward may not always be smooth, but it's always worth it. There will be obstacles, moments of doubt, and times when you feel like giving up. But every step you take in faith brings you closer to the fulfillment of God's promises. He didn't bring you this far to leave you where you are. He is leading you toward a future that is full of hope, joy, and purpose, if only you have the courage to keep moving forward. Your past may have shaped you, but it doesn't define you. The experiences you've had, the lessons you've learned, and the strength you've gained are all tools for the journey ahead. God doesn't waste anything. Even the pain and struggles you faced have a purpose in His plan. But that purpose isn't found in going back to what once was. It's found in stepping into what's yet to come. You were created to move forward, to grow, to evolve, and to step into the fullness of the life God has planned for you. Broken trust is hard to mend. Trust is the foundation of any meaningful relationship, whether it's with a partner, a friend, or even a family member. It's the invisible thread that binds two people together, creating a sense of safety, reliability, and connection. When that trust is broken, it's like shattering a delicate glass vase, and once the pieces are scattered, no matter how carefully you try to put them back together, it will never be the same. The cracks will always show, and the vase will never hold now as much as it once did. Rebuilding trust requires more than just apologies and promises. Words alone cannot undo the damage caused by betrayal, dishonesty, or neglect. Trust is built through consistent actions over time, through effort and intention. But even with the most genuine attempts to repair it, the relationship may never regain the strength it once had. The person who is hurt often carries the weight of doubt, fear, and insecurity. And those emotions don't simply vanish because someone says they're sorry. It's important to understand that broken trust doesn't only affect the relationship, it also affects the person who is hurt. Betrayal can leave deep wounds, causing someone to question their judgment, their worth, and even their ability to trust again. It plants seeds of self-doubt, making them wonder if they missed the signs or if they were somehow to blame. Healing from broken trust isn't just about forgiving the other person, it's also about rebuilding your own sense of security and confidence. Sometimes a person who broke the trust wants to move forward quickly, eager to make amends and prove that they've changed. But healing doesn't happen on their timeline. The person who is hurt needs space to process their emotions, to grieve the loss of what they thought the relationship was, and to decide if rebuilding is even possible. Trust isn't something that can be rushed or forced. It's a delicate process that requires patience, understanding, and mutual effort. One of the most challenging aspects of broken trust is the loss of certainty. Before the betrayal, there was a sense of stability and predictability in the relationship. You knew where you stood and what to expect. But when trust is broken, that foundation is shaken, and suddenly everything feels uncertain. You question motives, second-guess intentions, and analyze every word and action. It's exhausting, and it takes a toll on both the person who is hurt and the relationship as a whole. Forgiveness and trust are not the same thing. You can forgive someone for hurting you without allowing them back into your life. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from anger and resentment, about letting go of the burden of bitterness so you can heal. But trusting someone again is a different matter entirely. It requires evidence that they've changed, that they're willing to do the work to earn back what was lost. And even then, there's no guarantee that trust can be fully restored. Sometimes the best decision is to walk away. Holding on to a relationship where trust has been irreparably broken can do more harm than good. It's not about giving up. It's about recognizing when the damage is too great to repair. It's about valuing your own peace and well-being enough to let go of something that no longer serves you. Walking away doesn't mean you didn't care or that you didn't try. It means you've chosen to prioritize your own healing over holding on to something that continues to hurt you. For those who have broken someone's trust, the journey to redemption is not an easy one. It requires humility, accountability, and a willingness to accept that rebuilding trust may not always be possible. It means taking responsibility for your actions without shifting blame or making excuses. It means showing through consistent behavior that you are committed to change. But even with the best intentions, you must be prepared for the possibility that the other person may not be ready or willing to trust you again. And that's a reality you have to accept. The scars of broken trust often serve as reminders of what happened, even long after the relationship has ended or the trust has been partially rebuilt. Those scars may make it harder to trust others in the future, but they can also be lessons. They teach you to set boundaries, to recognize red flags, and to prioritize relationships where trust is mutual and respect is unwavering. They remind you of your strength, of your ability to heal and move forward, even when it feels impossible. Trust is a gift, not a given. It's something that must be earned and cherished, not taken for granted. When someone places their trust in you, they're giving you a piece of their heart, their vulnerability, and their faith. To betray that trust is to break something sacred, something that may never be fully repaired. And when your trust is broken, it's a reminder to be cautious about where you place it in the future, to protect your heart while still remaining open to the possibility of new connections. Broken trust changes a relationship forever. It can create distance, build walls, and leave wounds that take time to heal. But it can also be a turning point, a moment of clarity that forces you to reevaluate what you want, what you need, and what you deserve. Whether you choose to rebuild or to walk away, the experience of broken trust is a powerful teacher. It shows you the importance of honesty, the value of integrity, and the strength it takes to move forward even when the path is uncertain. Healing requires letting go. It's one of the hardest lessons to learn, yet it's one of the most transformative. Holding on to pain, anger, or resentment may feel justified, especially when you've been hurt deeply. But the truth is, clinging to those emotions only keeps you trapped in the past. It's like carrying a heavy bag of stones wherever you go, each one representing a memory, a hurtful word, or a betrayal. You think holding on to them protects you, but in reality, it only weighs you down, making it impossible to move forward. Letting go doesn't mean that what happened was okay. It doesn't mean forgetting or pretending that the pain didn't exist. Letting go is about releasing the hold that pain has on you. It's about deciding that your peace is more important than holding on to the past. It's not about excusing the person who hurt you. It's about refusing to let their actions continue to control your life. You cannot change what happened, but you can change how you respond to it. That power is yours and yours alone. The process of letting go starts with acceptance. This is often the most challenging step because it requires you to confront the reality of what happened. Denying or minimizing the pain might feel easier in the moment, but it only prolongs the healing process. Acceptance means acknowledging the hurt, the betrayal, and the disappointment without trying to change the story. It's about facing the truth head on and allowing yourself to feel the emotions that come with it. Only when you fully acknowledge the pain can you begin to release it. Letting go also means releasing the need for answers or closure. So often we get stuck waiting for an apology, an explanation, or some kind of validation from the person who hurt us. We think that if we can just understand why it happened, we'll be able to move on. But the reality is, closure doesn't come from someone else, it comes from within. You have to decide that you don't need their words or their actions to heal. You have to choose to give yourself the closure you deserve, even if they never do. Forgiveness is a key part of letting go, but it's often misunderstood. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning what was done to you or reconciling with the person who hurt you. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself from the chains of anger and resentment. It's about choosing peace over bitterness, freedom over the burden of holding a grudge. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself, not to the other person. It's an act of self-love, a declaration that your happiness and well-being are more important than the pain of the past. The journey of letting go is not a straight line. There will be days when the memories resurface, when the hurt feels fresh again, and when you wonder if you'll ever truly be free of it. That's okay. Healing is not about never feeling pain again. It's about learning to navigate it with grace and resilience. Each time you choose to release the hurt, each time you let go of a little more anger or sadness, you are taking a step toward freedom. It's a gradual process, but every small step adds up to significant progress. Sometimes letting go also means letting go of people. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some relationships serve a purpose for a season, and when that season ends, holding on to them can do more harm than good. It's painful to let go of someone you care about, but it's even more painful to keep someone in your life who no longer respects or values you. Letting go of toxic relationships is an act of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I deserve better, and creating space for healthier, more fulfilling connections. The act of letting go requires faith in the idea that what's ahead is better than what you're leaving behind. It's hard to release something when you don't know what will take its place. But healing is an act of trust. It's trusting that the pain you feel now will not last forever, that the emptiness will eventually be filled with something better. Letting go means believing in your ability to rebuild, to create a life that is not defined by the hurt you've endured. Letting go also means letting go of the narrative you've been telling yourself. It's easy to get stuck in a story where you are the victim, where life happens to you instead of for you. But you are not your pain. You are not the sum of your heartbreaks or disappointments. You are a whole, resilient, and worthy person capable of creating a beautiful future. When you let go of the victim mindset, you reclaim your power. You take back control of your story and start writing a new chapter, one that is not defined by the past. Healing requires patience and self-compassion. It's not something you can rush, nor is it something you have to do perfectly. There will be setbacks, moments when the pain feels overwhelming, and times when you question if you're making any progress at all. But healing is not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about showing up for yourself every day, choosing to release the past little by little, and trusting that with time, the weight will lift and the pain will fade. Healing is not an event, it's a journey. In closing, remember that your past is a chapter, not the entire story. You have the strength to heal, the courage to let go, and the faith to move forward into the life you deserve. Don't let what broke you define you, let it refine you. Your best days are still ahead, and the future is filled with hope, growth, and the promise of something greater. Trust in that, and never look back.